want to make some extra cash, you go to jazzsports.com/lionsbet. You put in the promo code Lions125. You get a 125% deposit bonus. Hey, is BetUS is better than doing a lottery ticket, better than a casino. It's all about making that money, money, money. That's what it's all about, man. We got a good guy on here with us. His name's Antonio Hightower. What's going on, Antonio Hightower?
What's up, guys? Great to be back on here today. Talk about some Lions and Lions related stuff, which is basically just draft.
As you can tell, he is so motivated, man. He's real motivated, folks. I'm under the weather. I got COVID. Your boy finally got it. It is in my system, so we're going to try to give you the best shows humanly possible, and we'll go from there. Before we do that, though, I want to shout out to everybody in the chat. We got Jamie Ward, Gabe Campoli, Zach J, Gridiron Blitz, what's going on, Grit? Chrome, Juan Silva, Paul Juarez, Alan Dana, and Michael Peters. I'm sure people will go ahead and start streaming as well. We got nothing in the building coming in here. Man, Antonio Hightower, we got a lot of news going on today regarding, what's going on with the Detroit Lions in the last couple of days. And we got selected for the Senior Bowl, something that I've been talking about. What does that mean to you that we're coaching the Senior Bowl? How does that have effects on us as a team?
Well, us coaching the Senior Bowl allows us to get a close inspection of some of these prospects, specifically quarterback. I don't know if you've heard, anybody got heard, but um, Howell will be there, Pickett will be there, Willis will be there, Carson Strong will be there, and Ritter will also be there in terms of quarterback. So pretty much out of the top 6 or 7 QBs, 5 of them is going to be there.
Oh, for sure,
Yeah.
man. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think
So
they'll have a chance to look at all these quarterbacks to see if they actually want to go that route. Me personally, I just don't think they're going to go that route. Appreciate it, Raw Detroit.
yeah,
Make sure you subscribe. What's up, Dern? The link is in the Twitter feed, so you just scroll
yeah.
up and you'll find it. So we have a good up and close look at these prospects. What are you most intrigued? What prospects intrigue you the most for the Senior Bowl?
Well, number one for me is obviously Willis. Really, I want to see how he does. Interested to see how he does. It's not going to really affect my opinion of him too much, but it's going to affect his draft board. Uh, I'm not. I don't want that. I want him on my team for the cheap. He plays well. Don't shoot up the boards, but it's him. Um, you from Penn State, and we do need a wide receiver. Um, I do want to see, specifically, I want to see I want a guard. So I want to see like a Zion Nelson, see how he plays. Maybe a Jamari Salyer from Georgia. He plays a lot of tackle to guard. If any of y'all watched the national championship, he actually switched to right guard mid game. So he can play all over the line. Speak, Staying with offensive line, Darian Kennard. I heard apparently there's a lot of talk about him moving to guard, which would be pretty helpful for us. There's a few edges here. I want to see how like a guy like MJ Sanders might do. He might be a guy we can take with our second round pick if he feels like edge is still a position that needs to be addressed. Um, we also need some corners and Darion Kendrick, who is a player who's probably going to be a first round corner. And if he isn't, he's in the conversation to be one, and we do need corner. Um, and another corner that I'm really interested in is sleeper Tariq Woodland from UTSA. I think I heard about him because of the Freaks list. If y'all follow college football, there's like a dude named Bruce F something. He makes a freak list, and I'm pretty sure he was on the list. He's like 6'4", like 205, former wide receiver, runs like a 4.4, insanely athletic, kind of raw, but a guy you could pay attention to. At safety, there's a Jaquan Brisker from Penn State. We do need safety very badly, and he could fill that hole for us. Another guy. Well, there's a few linebackers too Brian Asamoah. So a lot of teams are intrigued with him because he moves well for a linebacker, and Devin Lloyd, who has been the high riser in the draft in terms of linebacker. So he would be a really interesting need because we do need a linebacker, and he has a skill set that we might covet if we want another Derek Barnes type guy, but better. That could be Devin Lloyd could be the guy. In terms of that, there's also other guys going that could affect you know the importance of our draft picks. A lot of guys who have a chance to move up on the board more, and it's a lot of guys who are the number one at the position who has a chance to make their draft stock even higher, potentially adding more value to our picks. So this Senior Bowl is pretty loaded. I'm not gonna lie, it's way more loaded than it was like last year or how it usually is. I mean, usually, first of all, you usually don't see this many quarterbacks going here. You definitely don't see this many quarterbacks, as many offensive line. Offensive line is stacked. There's like maybe like what three three potential for offense first round offensive linemen going to the Senior Bowl, 3 to 4, and there's a bunch of other positions too. Edge has like 2 to 3. It's a pretty deep Senior Bowl, so anybody who has a chance to watch it, you should watch
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's what it's all about is to get the talent on here. Darren, I see you in the building. I'll hook you up here in a minute. Um, for sure, and that's what it's all about. Also, there was a press conference done by our general manager, Brad Holmes, and I think it's really important to discuss that as well. A lot of key notes to take away from this press conference. I think one of the key notes that I took away is talked about getting better on the perimeter. Obviously, we're talking about wide receivers, maybe some secondary, and I 100% agree with Brad Holmes there. We need to get better with wide receivers. Be nice to get one in the draft, maybe a Drake London. And then obviously you talk about safety, and I think that's really important towards the success of this football team going forward. And we need to get better talent wise. We definitely need to get better talent wise, and we have an opportunity to do that in this draft and in the Senior Bowl. You have an opportunity to find some diamonds in the rough, and I think that's really important for the Lions to do so. What's going on, Fat Boy Adams? What's going on, Steve-O? If you got questions, throw it in the comment section. We're going to start the mailbag early, and if you got a question, we will get after it, and we'll have fun doing so. Just a little bit sick right now. I got COVID-19, and that's just the way that it works around here. Do you agree with Brad Holmes, Antonio Hightower, about getting better on the perimeters, wide receivers, the secondary?
it. I said that before the season, and it's been pretty apparent even after the season. We've had some um guys show out of lately. Cephas he was playing well before he got injured. And of course, St. Brown has um has really shown his skill set of late. But we still need to improve wide receiver. We still need to improve corner. We need to improve safety. Everything to do with the edge. That's probably our biggest weaknesses in terms of offense and defense at this moment. And this draft has a lot of in draft and free agency is gonna have a lot of interesting prospects we can use to fill those positions. So I do agree with Brad Holmes. Those are things we need to.
What do you guys think in the comment section? Do you think we need to get better on the perimeter? Do you agree with Brad
Wait, did
Holmes?
y'all hear
There
me?
we go. Now I can see you because I was having issues seeing the Dern. Man, I was like,
Did y'all
what's
hear
going
me?
on, man? So let me get you hooked up here real quick, and I gotta set up. So we'll go
Wait,
ahead and go
Mike,
to a question. What's up?
did you hear me when I said all that?
Yeah, I heard you. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, great.
So let me get go ahead, and I'm gonna send you up. Tell the folks what is a prospect of safety that the Detroit Lions should look at the Senior Bowl or in general. Tone.
Oh, sorry. I thought Darren was in here. A safety. You said Senior Bowl run general.
Yeah.
Um, in general, I mean, of course, it's Kyle Hamilton. That's my guy. That's the guy I want. But in terms of in general, this safety class is really interesting. Of course, at the same Senior Bowl, Jaquan Brisker will be going there. That will be interesting to see. Jordan Battle is a guy a lot of people are interested in. I think he's kind of overrated as an Alabama fan, but I'm interested to see him. This Lewis Seen from Georgia. He's a really interesting prospect. Really good in coverage, and he shows more physicality than you would expect. I mean, he'll hit guys. He'll hit guys. He don't hit the hardest, but he'll put everything he got in that hit. I don't know if y'all was watching. If you was watching the national championship. He had a hit on I think Brian Robinson, and like it was a surprising hit from a guy like him. So he will put he'll hit you and he can already cover it. Of course, it's Brandon Joseph from Northwestern, really athletic. We can look at getting him. Of course, there's a Daxton Hill. Depends if they want that type of safety. Because he's kind of more of like he's kind of more of like a slot corner safety. Kind of guys that you know I don't know if this new regime is gonna like those guys as much as the old regimes. That was kind of more the guys they'd like. So we'll have to see what they really look for in terms of the safety position. But those are just a few guys I would think of in terms of safety.
We got the Dern with us. What's going on, Dern, man? How's it going?
What's going on, guys? I'm finally on once in a year. I am here, finally.
Once in a century, the Dern is on, man.
Once
We're
in a
excited to have
century.
you on here. Did you watch the Brad Holmes press conference?
I saw a little bit of it. I was not able to watch the whole thing.
Okay. What is one takeaway that you've seen so far this season? Well, multiple takeaways from the beginning of the year to the end. This team fighting. What is takeaways you took away?
That the team always got better. In the beginning, we kept saying, are they actually putting the players in the best position possible to help them succeed? And after a while, you actually start to see, yes, they were. I mean, who saw Harris getting as many sacks as he did? I think he got 4 in one game, 3 to 4. That was nuts. I mean, the biggest part I took from the press conference, the part that I did watch, is that he said him and Dan Campbell were always saying eye to eye. There was never any doubt from each other. There was no doubt from each other. They are one, and they have the same vision, and that's great to see.
Yeah, it was definitely outstanding to see. I was really excited to see that they're on the same page because we've seen with Anthony Lynn, it wasn't on the same page, and there's a little dysfunction there. What do you think about the Lions getting rid of Anthony Lynn and what it means for the future of our team?
I think when they took the play calling away, everyone saw him leaving. But what's the point of him being there if the number one reason that he comes to Detroit to do play calling, and that rumor out there that he was not getting along with Jared Goff? What's the point in keeping him? I didn't see a point. So I know a while back we all in our group chat that were like, he's not going to be on the team next year.
Yeah, we all knew that. Who do you think should be offensive coordinator?
Oh, that's hard. What's that? Is that Ben Johnson? Is that his name?
Tight ends
the
coach,
tight ends
Ben
coach.
Johnson. Yep.
He seemed to connect with Campbell really well on putting the plays together, and ever since he started helping, it seemed like the offense started moving, and Goff kind of got his footing, and he looked a lot better. I mean, that's an option. I wish Brian DeBoll, but that will never happen.
Yeah, I know, definitely. Well, do you think they got higher within? Do you think that's the case?
I would guess so, because in the beginning of last year, when Campbell first got hired, he said that there's opportunity to grow in the Lions organization, whether that's a player or a coach. So if I would take away that it will be in-house.
Folks, if you got a question, we'd try to have some answers. Throw it in the comment section, #Lions, then I can see it. I'm really out of it today, so you may have to do it twice. I'm completely out of it. So if you want a question answered, go ahead and do #Lions. If it's a good question, we're going to go ahead and feature it on Saturday's video, the Mailbag video. That's what it's all about. What are you most excited for, Antonio Hightower, this offseason? What, like the draft, free agency, Senior Bowl, NFL Combine for the Lions? What excites you?
I guess the draft in general. The draft is always my favorite part of the Lions season because the part of the Lions season that matters the most. We don't do anything else. Really interested to see how a lot of this stuff plays out, specifically when it comes to the draft board. I think the draft board is going to shift significantly. It already has been of late. I don't know if I've been hearing a lot more in terms of mock drafts of Evan Neal going number one, which is something I said for months is a better possibility than a lot of people were acknowledging. And I think there's a good chance stuff like that will happen. I think guys like Stingley could really move up Hamilton because when they get to the Senior Bowl, when they get to the Combine and Pro Days, I think those guys are gonna absolutely show out. They're gonna show out. You know, Senior Bowl, he already said it's gonna be really interesting. All the top quarterbacks, except for Corral, is gonna be there. So that's really gonna affect the draft. I want to see how I want to see how deep this offensive line class is. I've been saying it. Part of the reason I didn't want us to draft Sewell is because I believe this offensive line class is insanely deep. In my opinion, this offensive line class might be the best offensive line class we've ever seen. And it is insanely deep. I wouldn't be surprised if 9 guys go in the first round. And that's not an exaggeration. There's a lot of guys. I've seen mock drafts where they had 3 guys just going in the top 10 alone. I've seen lists where they had 4 to 5 guys listed as top 15 prospects. Interested to see how that goes. The cornerback position in general, we really need corner, and there's a lot of interesting corners in this draft. I already brought up Stingley. Ahmad Garner has really been shooting up draft boards, specifically like that he did against Jameson Williams. He played really well against Jameson Williams in the when Cincinnati played Alabama. Of course, there's the Andrew Booths and the Trent McDuffie's, of course, those guys. I'm interested to see what his D line goes. I think they're gonna be the real big thing because I'm pretty sure Hutch is still going to the Senior Bowl. Which wait, is he? He should be. I think he should be still be going to the Senior Bowl, and that would be a huge thing to see. Interested to see how teams feel about Thibodeau. I think his draft stock could be really interesting. Him and Hutch. There's just a lot of really interesting things about this draft. Because honestly, I think the top of this draft is really interesting. Honestly, there's so many prospects I like, and there's so many prospects I'd be okay with us taking number one. I'd be okay with a Neal. I'd be okay with a Hutch. I'd even become okay with a Stingley and Hamilton. Now, granted, not all of those are considering that we stay at number two. I'm just talking about in general, move back or stay. I'd be okay with a lot of these players because a lot of these players are really really talented players.
Now, if you're wondering why I'm not talking as much, folks, I have I am sick, and so I'm letting these guys carry for me, and that's what it's all about. Let's go ahead and get to some of the questions here. I'm going to throw this one to my guy, the Dern. Dern, we got a question here. It says, let's see, Simba to Mufasa, who are some big, tall wide receivers we shouldn't miss out on like everyone did with Metcalf? Get well. Thank you.
Drake London. I think he's a big, tall boy. He was St. Brown's partner at USC, and that dude, I think he was 19 of 28 in contested catches. So that dude's a beast. And that was just before I think he broke his ankle. But that guy, I think he would be paired very well with St. Brown. My question is, though, who do we keep out of this wide receiver core? Who do we let go if we draft one and possibly get one out of free agency? There's got to be odd men out.
Yeah, that's a great question. Let's do that right now while we're sitting here. In, obviously, Quintez Cephas, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and I think that's important. What about Josh Reynolds? We'll just go name by name here. Antonio Hightower, should we re-sign Josh Reynolds? Just do a yes or no. Don't need to do a big explanation. No. What do you say, Dern?
For me, it just depends on who you can attract of the other people that are out there in free agency? Because there's some pretty big names.
I say yes, with the idea that we're still going to get somebody in free agency. I think we still need to get like a bigger name guy for sure. What about Khalif Raymond and Tony Hightower?
Yes.
Kick returner, punt returner. That's kind of my idea. What about you, Dern? Khalif?
No.
Okay, you don't like Khalif. We got 90 in the building and 32
It's
likes.
not that I don't like him.
Let's get to 50 likes. I think we can do that. 18 away with these folks in the building. Who else we got? Trinity Benson.
My favorite player.
Yeah. We traded 2 draft picks for him.
Can we get those back?
I wish we could get them back. What do you say? Should we keep Trinity Benson there and Tony Hightower?
I don't know. We can let him. Yes. I don't know. We can let
Your
him go.
favorite player.
We can't let him go. We just traded draft picks, and then the next season to cut him. Oh my.
I'd say we have to. He ain't done anything for us, man. He hasn't done anything for us. Oh, I just seen a question here. I'm sorry. Do you think that Taylor Decker can stay healthy? I know you love Taylor Decker and Tony Hightower. Can he stay healthy?
I do indeed love Taylor Decker. I don't know. These injuries are stacking up a lot more recently. Mostly just because of the him getting put on IR. He's played well though, because early in his career, part of the problem he had when he got that one real big injury, I think it was a shoulder injury, and sometimes even the recovery was a little wonky. I do remember there was a guy from the Saints, Teron Armstead, who had got the same injury later than Decker, but came back earlier. It took him a while to come back from this injury. Taylor Decker did play as well as he usually does, but he still played. He still played well. Um, Personally, though, I would like the Lions to try to entertain. I do think I would like the Lions to entertain entertain some trades for him, specifically because I think it's time. It's time to put Sewell at left tackle. You drafted Sewell to be a left tackle. Put him at left tackle, right? And if we all agree that Sewell is the future left tackle, if we all agree that Decker probably isn't in the future of the Lions unless you want to put him at right tackle. And it seems like a lot of people have a lot of questions about putting him at right tackle. At my point, in my opinion, just get the transition over with now so we can get our new tackle in. He can get it developed. This is already a deep tackle class, and you're already gonna have to if you're gonna get a new guy anyway, and you're going to rebuild the chemistry within the unit anyway. You might as well get it done now. This is probably the best time to ever do it if you were gonna do it.
BA Sports says, what do you think about Amani Awarie? Also, can you shout me out when you say this? Huge shout out to BA Sports, man. Appreciate you getting in here. Love the avatar. That's kind of sick, man. I really like that. I love Amani Awarie. Fantastic pick, 5th-round draft pick. I think he's developed nicely. Solid number 2 for the Lions. Playmaker. Dern, what do you think about Amani?
I was really, really hard on Amani last year, the late of last year and the beginning of this year. And I am so glad he has proved me wrong. And the reason I was so hard on him is because he was playing almost identical to what Okudah was doing. It wasn't good enough. I know people will give him the excuse he's a late round pick. It takes 3 years. Yes, I understand. But man, has he turned it out. I was wrong. He's a fantastic player. He tied for 3rd in the amount of interceptions he got.
Yeah, he was a boss. He's a good piece for the
great
Detroit. I know a
playmaker.
lot of people didn't even want him on the team at the beginning of the year. I was like, man, that's crazy. I think he'll be fantastic for the Detroit Lions going forward. Folks, if you have not done so, then you need to go ahead and vote for Michael Banks for the Ford player. We're talking about the Hall of Fame, not the Hall of Fame. We got a Detroit Lions represented here, and he was given by Calvin Johnson as well as Barry Sanders. That link that's attached to this stream, that's the link right to it. You just go ahead and click and vote for Michael Banks to be placed into the Hall of Fame. We need this guy in here, the GOATs, Barry Sanders and Calvin Johnson nominated him. So when the GOATs speak, we need to make sure we help the GOATs out because what they say is hashtag facts. Let's see. What do you think of CBS Sports giving Dan Campbell a B grade this season? I think that's perfectly fine in all honesty because if you look at the beginning of the year, it was looking rough for the Lions. I know the Dern, he wasn't happy at all about what the Lions are doing the first half and Dan Campbell, but the second half it changed. And so I totally understand that. I think that's a fair grade. What about you, Dern?
Yeah, and I was not happy with him right away because
No.
everything seemed to be going wrong, and I kind of complained about him in our group chat a little
Yes, you
bit.
did.
But yeah, and the best thing about Dan Campbell, there's two things in my opinion. One, the players never gave up on him when it all seemed lost. When we all thought we were still going 0-17, the team never gave up, even with all of our injuries. We were on third stringers, fourth stringers. They still played well for him. And number two is after it seemed to be after the halfway mark of the season, it just kept getting better and better.
Folks, that's my boy Jamie List, man. I've been friends with this guy for, I'd say almost 25 years. Man, I was hanging with this dude when I was a young man, man. He's got a good YouTube channel as well. Make sure you go and subscribe to it. Actually, it's like he creates stuff and like refurbishes things. Really, really freaking cool. Go ahead and subscribe to his channel. That's an old buddy of mine. Known him for a long time. Yeah, I do. I got the COVID. It was a matter of time before I got it. Let's see, Detroit Lions Syndicate. Man, make sure you subscribe to Detroit Lions Syndicate. That's where you talk all things Detroit Lions, but that's the Gridiron Blitz's other channel. Subscribe to it. If you got questions, let me know, folks. You got to put a hashtag, though. Usually I could probably maybe see it without it, but now I'm really out of it, man. So it's going to be really difficult for me. So if you want your question answered, put a hashtag, and I tried to get it to it here. Let me get to this question here. Dixie Normus, the greatest name of all time. Do you think that Detroit Lions will use the number 2 draft pick and Kyle Hamilton is the best player available in this huge need for the Detroit Lions? I personally don't believe they're going to draft Kyle Hamilton unless they trade back. I think they're going to go Kayvon Thibodeau, even though you all know how much I like Kyle Hamilton. He's my favorite player. He is. It's just... Oh, Brian Smith with the ridiculous comment. I'm sorry. It says, oh, micro variant. Oh, that was funny. I don't think they're going to go Kyle Hamilton. I think they go Kayvon Thibodeau. What about you, Antonio Hightower?
Yeah, I don't see them going Kyle Hamilton, especially if they stay at number 2. I think they probably are looking at edge more, and B, I think in the NFL, teams don't value safety enough. And I know that Hamilton is not just a safety. I don't think they value even guys like Hamilton enough. I mean, we've seen in recent years that even some of those guys are slid. I mean, Dervin James slid, Isaiah Simmons slid, guys like that who you'd expect to be really valuable. For some reason, teams just don't value them as much in the draft as you'd expect. I don't think they're gonna spend the number 2 overall pick on it. If they trade back, I could see it, but I don't think it. I think if they stay number 2, I think it's gonna be between Thibodeau, it's gonna be between Hutch.
Yeah, 100% agree with that. I think it's going to be Thibodeau or Hutch. I think it's going to be Kayvon Thibodeau, unless Thibodeau's taking one. But I'm not glad. I've been saying this for a long time before mainstream media is talking about it. I think Jacksonville goes Evan Neal. I think it go offensive line. Darren, what do you think about that?
So there has only been one safety chosen with a top 5 draft pick since 1992, and that was Sean Taylor. The last time a safety was selected in the top 3 was Eric Turner back in 1991. So I highly doubt the Lions will pick a safety at the number 2 pick. Hamilton is probably my favorite player in this draft, but unfortunately, if they stay at 2, I highly doubt they will get him. So I'm hoping for a trade back to get him, but the odds don't look good.
Yeah, I'm 100% agree with you right there. Definitely agree with that. I don't know why some of my comments are not coming up as fast as possible, so I'll use the other way to read it here. We got a question from Patty. What do you think the best coaching job that's available now? That's a good question by Patty Grimes. Man, there's a lot of coaching jobs. We got 8 now. So 25% of the NFL right now has coaching jobs available. What do you think the number one coaching job available is, Antonio Hightower?
At this point, I think I got to say Jacksonville. I think I got to say Jacksonville is because what you basically gonna get a chance to build up from the bottom. You get talent. Now, it ain't the greatest talent. But it's the talent you get. A lot of people think that's their QB of the future. You get your QB of the future. You get a lot of talent. You get cap space, and you get draft picks. You get the first overall pick this year, and you're probably gonna get another great one next year. You get a chance to kind of build up from the bottom. This is a fairly young team. A lot of the older players are starting to leave. A few more are probably gonna start to leave after this. You get a chance to build up from the bottom. It'll probably be tough for a while, but with that toughness, you probably get a little bit more longevity. You know, I forget their old coach name. Horrible guy. Urban Meyer. He probably would have been there for a few years if he didn't do everything that he did, which he did everything. Basically told him fire him. But with a job like that, usually you're gonna get some. Usually they're gonna allow you to give you a few years to try to build it up, kind of like Campbell. They're not gonna fire Campbell after this year because they didn't have expectation that we're gonna win this year. If we don't win next year, they won't do the same thing either. Similar things with Jacksonville. So I'd say that Jacksonville is probably the number one place to go in my opinion.
I actually agree. I think it is. You had the number one overall pick last year, Trevor Lawrence. You get the number one overall pick this year. I think just the issue there is I think the owner is kind of off his rocker a little bit. I don't know. He's not fully there. He seems to make a lot of mistakes. Same with the Houston Texans. My God, they're a dysfunctional franchise. So I would say Texans would be the last one, man. I don't want to. I would stay away from the Houston Texans. They got an issue. What do you think about Bailey Zapp as a late round pick for developmental project? What do you think about that, Antonio Hightower?
I actually have not got to watch Bailey Zapp yet. I've heard of him. I've heard of him. I haven't got to quite watch him yet. I haven't got too deep into the draft cycle. I've watched some of the surface level guys I watched in passing by watching college football, but I haven't really got to watch him yet.
Hey, Dern, what do you think about him?
I've honestly never heard of him before. I'm looking him up right now.
I haven't looked at him
Western
either.
Kentucky.
I haven't
Yeah,
looked at.
I've
I
never
think
heard of him
is he in the
before.
Senior
Sorry.
Bowl? Is he part of? Because we got Sam Howell,
Um,
Malik Willis. Is Zapp the other quarterback that's going to be in the Senior Bowl? I thought that's what it was. I could be wrong.
yeah, he's
Yes.
in the Senior Bowl.
Okay, so he's with the Detroit Lions coaching staff, so we'll have a good chance to look at him because we got Malik Willis, Sam Howell, and Zapp. That's what I thought it was. So that'll be our quarterbacks. We'll have a better look there. I haven't, honestly, folks. There's only been a handful of quarterbacks I looked at. Why? Because I just don't really believe the Detroit Lions are going to go quarterback. I wanted to early in the season when we're 0-9 or whatever, and it looked like that there was looking to potentially go 17. But as the season went along and Jared Goff got a little bit better, and then I was hearing from Dan Campbell, it definitely just doesn't feel like they're going to go quarterback. What's up,
Which they should.
AJG? I just think they should go best player available. Whoever, it doesn't matter a
Right.
position, unless
It depends who's
you're,
there. I get it.
yep, unless it's a kicker. We don't need to get a long snapper and a punter. Everything else should be best player available. I can see a scenario where Evan Neal goes to Jacksonville. If so, who are you going with? 51-49 Hutch Simmons. I can actually see that situation, Cy Gray. I've been saying this for a while. It's funny, all the mock drafts are saying, they're going to go Hutch or Thibodeau. I'm like, but it just doesn't make any sense to me. You get a franchise quarterback, you got to protect him. Personally, I like Hutchinson. I'm more the 4-3 guy. I'm more the big body guy. I'm more the disruptor who's good at one thing, not multiple things. But I just think Brad Holmes go Kayvon Thibodeau 3-4. He's universal. He's multi-dimensional. He loves Oregon Ducks, Pac-12. What do you think, Dern? What do you think they do? if they're both available?
It all depends on what we do. Does Glenn leave, and then we change our defense to a 4-3. If we
Oh,
go a
please,
4-3,
Glenn,
then you
don't
go
leave.
Hutchinson. Yeah, do not leave, please. I do not want him to leave.
If he
But
leaves, who
there
do
is
you
a
want as
chance.
defensive coordinator?
Oh, it's so hard. We were talking about it, and the best thing that I could think of as of right now would be Mike Zimmer. He is a much better defensive coordinator than he is a head coach. But the problem is that he has always ran a 4-3. And so we would have to change our defense completely. Well, not completely. I think our roster's more set for a 4-3 right now anyway, because we don't have the linebackers for a 3-4. But if we go to a 4-3, you would go Hutchinson. If you stay at 3-4, you go Thibodeau. If you stay at 2.
What do you guys think about what do you guys think about Mike Zimmer in the comment section? I want to see if you guys, if God forbid Aaron Glenn leaves us, we all don't
Please
want that
don't.
to happen. No, none of us want it to happen. Would you like Mike Zimmer as your defensive coordinator? Spam the comment section with Y's and N's. I want to see what you guys think. If God forbid Aaron Glenn leaves, I think Mike Zimmer would be fantastic pickup for defensive coordinator. Antonio Hightower, what do you think before these votes start coming in?
I'll be very interested in getting Mike Zimmer as a defensive coordinator. He's a very good defensive mind. Um, I'd really like to see him. Part of the problem he got out as the head coach. Well, he didn't get along with his quarterback. He didn't even want his quarterback, so that's a problem. Also, he's kind of in that Pete Carroll tier of head coaches who haven't really adapted to the modern NFL in terms of thinking when it comes to being a head coach. Um, that won't be as big as a problem if he becomes a DC. But yeah, I'd like to really, if Glenn has to leave, I'd really be interested in seeing Zimmer as a DC.
All right, let's see what the folks say here. I'm really curious here. We got Robert says hell no to Zimmer. I like Zimmerman, so one yes, one no. James says no. We got Y from Armando. We got no from Carls. We got Y from David. We got Y from Eric. Sorry, I'm not reading the big comments. We got N from, that was for Flores. So it's kind of a mixed bag right now for getting Mike Zimmer, if that was the case. But in all reality, folks, we don't even want to even think about that. We need Aaron Glenn to stay as our defensive coordinator. The guy is a genius. The guy is glorious. Go Lions says no. Tim says why. Toxic says no. So 50-50. It's going 50-50 right there. Let me get to some questions again. What do you think about quarterback O'Connell, Purdue, 3rd or in the 5th round? What do you think about him, Antonio Hightower? Have you a chance to look at him?
Honestly, I haven't looked at any of these really quarterbacks outside of the Strongs, the Redlers, the Hows. I've mostly only looked at first round prospects to this point, so I can't give an opinion on them right now, but I'll look them up.
I seen a comment in there. It says how much tape. I can't find it, but I seen it. How much tape do you guys look at when you're looking at prospects? It just depends on when. I started mine looking at week 4. So it started there, just initial processes, and it just gets more and more as time goes along. So generally what I do is I look at a guy, I watch it, and then my guy TA will say, hey, Mike, look at this guy, watch it. And then Dern will say, hey, look at this guy, watch it. That's just usually what happens. We have a communication behind the scenes. We all can talk to each other, and that's kind of how it happens. So it just depends on what it is and who asks it and how definitive there are in it. Last year, Dern was really definitive on Amon-Ra St. Brown. This dude wanted him. He talked about him beginning of the year. Says, you got to check this guy out. Says, okay, we got to check him out. He ends up being 100% correct on him. Amon-Ra St. Brown's the guy. TA, he was big on other players too. So that's just kind of how it works for us. I don't just sit there and just look at the first round picks and I go from down there. That's not how we
I
do
was
it.
wrong. I was wrong on the round we would take him. I thought it would have been the 3rd, but it was better. We got him in the 4th.
I was the greatest. It was literally that was the definitive moment in your Detroit Lions. You're a scout. You would have hit the nail on the head. Pleasant will replace Aaron Glenn if he leaves. Glenn is not leaving. Yeah, well, Glenn's definitely not leaving. Let's see. Let's see more questions here. Sorry, guys. I'm completely out of it. That's why I'm having these guys carry me. What's the one position the Lions should draft? Safety. I'm going to say safety. What about you, Dern?
Well, it says should.
It depends on what we do in free agency. I know we need pass rush really bad. We need safety really bad. Wide receivers a big need. It who falls where? It's like a domino effect.
What about you, Antonio Hightower?
Wait, are we at? Because I saw one that says what we shouldn't draft. We doing that one or another one?
What is one position we should? And I guess we can do one position that we shouldn't.
Should. I mean, there's no specific position that we should draft. We have needs at almost every single position. Although I think the biggest position of need, well, the biggest position we should be focusing on is wide receiver, deep wide receiver class. Interesting free agency, especially with these recent injuries. If I do go, should it? Um, DT, I guess. Um, I don't know because we already have Levi, and he didn't play much this year, but Levi was always be kind of developmental. Um, new position, sat out last year. If you watched him in the Senior Bowl, he looked really rusty, so I'm not surprised about how he looked. We already got McNeil. If anything, if we're gonna stay a four, a five, a 3-4, probably should. The only position, only way I'm interested in DT is we go after a four tech. We go to a 4 or 5 tech because we kind of need that guy specifically because like Deshaun Hand was the old guy who the newer guy who would fit the position. Brockers is probably the only guy on the roster who really fits that position, but he's not going to be there. Um, he's not going to be here much longer. So if we stay at 3-4, we need to draft. We could draft a 5 tech, but that's the only DT I'd be interested in drafting.
It's not the fact I don't want to get Kyle Hamilton at 2, Robert. I would. It's just I'm not. It's just like I said with the Akuda pick. I didn't want Akuda. I knew he was going to get drafted with the 3rd pick. I named off so many other people. I wanted Justin Herbert. I wanted Brown. I wanted this. I wanted that. But I just knew they're going Jeffrey Okuda. So I just don't see them taking Hamilton at 2. I really don't. I wouldn't want to lie to you guys and say, yeah, I think they could because that would be lying to you. I would do it, man. I don't care. I think Kyle Hamilton's the best player in the draft. That's my personal opinion. Let's see here. Get some questions on. Oh, yeah, there's a good idea. You still have Austin Bryant, Charles Harris, Aquara Brothers, and Brockers. We do have that, Breeze, and that's very good, but Charles Harris has got to get re-signed. Dern, should we re-sign Charles Harris?
What kind of contract are we talking? If it's
not a big contract, less than
100%.
Aquara. Yeah, like a 2-year
100%.
deal. Yeah. Nothing big.
Absolutely.
2-year deal, mid-round for him. Nothing big. Do you think that Akuda's a bust?
Not yet. I am on the verge of it. And it's very unfortunate because I don't think he's been given the total opportunity because he tore his Achilles, but it's really hard for a corner to come back from an Achilles tear. They don't have that straight line speed anymore, so he might not ever be a good corner now. He might have to transition to safety.
And I appreciate my fellas here. They holding me up today. They're carrying all the weight for me because I am not feeling that great. Folks, we got 178 in the building with 68 likes. Let's get to 100 likes. With your help, I know it can get done. We'll smash that like button. Let's get to 100 likes. The future of Goff. I love this question. What is the future of Goff, Dern? What is the future of Jared Goff?
Man, that's a really hard question because it's a tale of two Goffs. The first beginning, we were outraged by Goff because it seemed like he couldn't do anything right. He would throw the ball away on 4th down, and it seemed like every game it was at least 2 interceptions or a fumble and interception. He was a turnover machine right away. But since week 12, I think he was rated top 10 in almost every category. So what Goff do we get next year? in my opinion, just in case, we should draft a quarterback, and then with the second first round pick, because you get that 5th-year option, and that helps a lot with cap space. And then if it turns out Goff is your future, you could always trade the guy that you drafted.
Okay, so you're on the board with drafting a quarterback with the second first round pick. Are you on board with that, Antonio Hightower?
I'm definitely on board with that. I've been on board with drafting a QB even before this draft. I don't think Goff is the QB we need in terms of our future. I think he'll be here, at least for next year, specifically, just at least for cap reasons. I don't know if the franchise truly believes in him enough as a like to be the guy. So I think they might address QB this year or next year. But I definitely would be okay with taking one the second round, first round pick if it's a nice prospect.
I guess I'll be the dissenter here. As much as I wouldn't mind getting a quarterback, I'm really falling in love with a couple of prospects who I think will be there with that second first round pick. Kobe Dean, I think I'm falling in love with this guy. His hitting ability, his sideline to sideline. He is really something I feel that this could really help this defense out and take it to that next level. I think he could be there. I think that Drake London could be there. Man, oh man, we need wide receiver, and he potentially could be, put him on the opposite of Amon-Ra St. Brown. Amon-Ra St. Brown likes him. Really take that to the next level. I'd like to give Jared Goff this next year to see if he can do anything. Now, if a quarterback falls that you don't expect, I wouldn't have a problem with that in my opinion. But as much as the talent that there is, I just don't want to pass up on some of this extremely great talent. Someone put in the comment section, Adam Gase as new offensive coordinator for the Lions. I literally just puked in my mouth, and it was a joke. They're obviously joking. That was crazy, man. I would not want that. That would be a terrible, terrible thing. Far-fetched, but to say Thibodeau falls to number 2 and the Giants want him, would you accept a trade back, and acquire? Yes, I would accept a trade and to trade back. If we're at 2, they want Thibodeau, I will fall back. Damn straight I will. I'll get that draft picks, darn. That will help our team out immensely.
Oh, yeah. Especially if you get 2 of their first-round picks. And then we have 3 in the first round. That would be a dream come true. And then you get probably the number 1 guy in the draft in Kyle Hamilton. If he's still there at that pick, there's a possibility of like a Derek Stingley or, man, get my hopes up like that. That's not cool.
I would be really happy. I think trade back scenario is the best case, and I know Antonio Hightower talks about this a lot. How'd you feel about a trade back scenario?
I'd really like to see a trade back scenario. I think we need to trade back. We need to queue draft picks. I think we need to do this last year. I think we need to do it this year. Get more draft picks. Then the talent in scratch is deep enough that the drop off isn't that huge. I don't know exactly what teams are gonna move up, but see what kind of who's interested in who as the cycle goes on. It's very early in the cycle. At this point in the cycle, we don't really know anything about what teams think. But if there's an opportunity to move back, and we don't move back too far, I definitely be up for it.
If you're a Detroit Lions fan and you don't have this app, Lions Nation Unite, then you are failing yourself. This is a fantastic app. You got to check this bad boy out. Go to lionsnationunite.com, download the app. You can create posts, throw some images on there, make videos. Your other YouTubers are on there you can talk to. It's made by Herman Moore for Lions fans. It is absolutely awesome. You can also follow them on Twitter, Lions Nation U, and on their YouTube channel, Lions Nation Unite. Doing some big things. And again, smash that like button. Let's get to 100 likes. We're 15 away. This is the mailbag segment. If you got questions, throw it in the comment section with a hashtag. That's what it's all about. And I'm losing my voice really quick. So I'm going to throw my buddy Dern on here really quick so he can help me out. Would you take Davis for sure if you trade back? That's a question here. You take Davis for sure. Traylon Burks or Drake London? Who would you take?
Oh man, that is so hard. To me, I'm sorry, I'm a huge fan of Traylon Burks. That dude's size, speed, what he can do with his body in the air. He can do contested catches. He can go deep. He can do intermediate routes. I think I would go Burks.
What about you, Antonio Hightower? What would you do? Would you go Traylon Burks or would you go ahead and go Drake London?
Honestly, and as much as I love Drake London, I was praising him before last draft. Actually, in the middle of last draft, I was telling people to watch out for this guy as a potential prospect at wide receiver. Much as I love him, gotta give me Traylon Burks, man. Traylon Burks, I call him Baby DK. That dude is insanely athletic, 6'3", 230, and fast, real fast, dangerous at all parts of the field. Might need a little bit of development in terms, stuff of route running, but that guy is gonna be real dangerous, especially if you put him in the right offense. He's gonna be insanely dangerous.
Hashtag Lions. Who is happy that we don't have to see Kelly Stafford, Detroit Lions headlines this season? I'm happy. I'm tired of seeing her in the headlines. She can be very annoying. Who won this trade? Because I've been thinking about this. The way that Stafford been playing, throwing all these picks. He's become Matthew Pick Sixford. He's throwing a lot of interceptions, especially the end of the year. And then now you got Jared Goff playing better. Darren, who won the trade, man?
I can't officially say until I see who we draft with those picks. Um, at least with these picks this year. But as of right now, I still love the trade.
I
He
do
didn't want to
too.
be here. It was a great trade. How do you get 2 first-round picks, a bridge quarterback, a second-round pick for a quarterback that throws pick sixes all the time and has a hurt back? I don't see anyone else getting that.
I don't see it. And it's funny, I was looking at the other quarterbacks. When it comes to the trades, you look at Carson Wentz, he's failing. He failed in Indianapolis. You look at the Carolina Panthers, traded for the Jets quarterback, he's failing for the Carolina Panthers. With all the quarterbacks that got traded, looks like we have the best one, I guess. What do you think about that there, Antonio Hightower?
Yeah, it was a great trade for us. Personally, I still do wish we would have did the trade with Carolina. The trade that would have, for everybody doesn't know, it would have been a trade to get us the number 8 overall pick. I think it was a seventh and Teddy Bridgewater for Matthew Stafford. I still think we should have took that pick. Um, Even then, the trade back potential would have been insane, or just taking a player at that position because we some pretty good players who could have went there. But outside of that, I really do still like the trade. Um, I would like us to use some of those I would like us to entertain the idea of using those Rams draft picks to maybe trading up in the first this year because I don't think the draft is going to be that amazing. So if I can get a higher impact player, I'd go for it. But all in all, I think it was a great trade.
This is a good one from Huron. I can't tell you what really to do here. Hashtag Eagles, a trade partner. 2, they get the second pick. We get 15 and 16. Would you take that trade, Dern?
Man, that's really hard. I know I had them as a trade partner before, but falling back that far
Mm-hmm.
beyond the 10th pick, 12th pick is really, really hard to do. I know you get those 2 first-round picks, but I do they have to give you more than just those two because you
Just
fall
those
back so
two
far?
picks. Just those two picks.
I don't know. I think you could get better than that.
What about you and Tony Hightower?
Um, That'd be an interesting deal. I think it would depend on how the draft cycle goes because it's gonna be a bunch of prospects that move up the board. It's gonna be a bunch of random guys that come out of nowhere. For example, there's like the Makai Becton stuff. There are also guys that kind of come out of nowhere. And there's always the guys who move up the board out of nowhere. If you want a perfect example, Kyle Pitts. shot up the boards last year. So I'd see all that, but for now, I'd have to say no. Um, if one of those was a top 10 pick, or if both were like around, you know, if one was a top 10 pick, I'd probably say yes. But with that, I had to see the board and how it shifts. But for now, I had to say no.
If the Lions were to give Allen Robinson a 1-year deal, would you all approve? Would you take a 1-year deal for Allen Robinson, Darren?
Yes, I would.
What about you, Tone?
Yes, although I don't think he's coming here.
I have not seen their schedule, Patty, so I don't know what's going on with their schedule over there. But I know they got a tough one. The NFC West is just tough schedule, man. They're all the teams are good. So if you're in the NFC West, you got a tough one. 3 of the teams are in the playoffs. 49ers, the Cardinals, and the Rams. That's crazy. That is crazy. Folks, we've been on for nearly an hour, and I am sick. I got COVID. I don't even know how I lasted this long. So we're going to go ahead
I was just thinking that.
We're going to go ahead and close this show because I need to go lay down and get this day over with because this day is miserable. I appreciate everybody coming in. Antonio Hightower, what do you got to say to the folks when we close this bad boy out?
It was great coming here to talk with you guys. You know, I've been really focusing on draft a lot more of late, so it's just great. Come on, talk some draft, especially about the Lions. Although I'm talking about draft the Lions all year, I guess it's technically my favorite time of year. Although this is the time of year for me all the time.
Hey, Dr. Detroit, Don Burp, thank you for coming in, man. Thank you. I probably won't remember this. Darren, what you got to say to the folks when we close this bad boy out?
I've seen people do mock draft after mock draft already on Facebook groups for the Detroit Lions. We do not need to draft another running back. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, I don't see us drafting a running back. That's crazy. But I appreciate everybody out there coming in. Sometime tomorrow I'll have a video drop, and I couldn't tell you when. On Saturday, I'll feature you guys' comments on the mailbag video. Then we'll get after it starting on Monday because I got to rest up. Hey, thank you for the $2.99 super sticker. Appreciate you, Cy. Appreciate everybody coming out. Definitely get well. Thank you. Yeah. I'm in the midst of it right now, so I got probably a couple more days of this garbage. So I'm just I just want to just get some sleep. But appreciate everybody. You all have a great rest of